Hi, this is Michelle with Focus on Fabulous, and I am part of a Tell Your Story challenge. And our challenge today is to talk about a lesson that we learned in our childhood. And since today is National Bosses Day, I thought it was really appropriate to kind of incorporate the two. So I grew up the oldest with 7 siblings in my household. So I was always kind of the leader, the one in charge, the boss, so to speak. And even though I was the boss, I never considered myself bossy. And I don't think my siblings considered me bossy either. I was just like an extended parent. I actually have siblings that called me little mommy. And I was dependable, reliable, and the one that also got in trouble if, you didn't have your shoes on for school. So what I have learned in being the boss or being the oldest and being the leader is, as an adult, I have learned that being a leader doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in charge. It doesn't mean that you have to take control of everything. Sometimes you have to listen. Sometimes you have to step back and let somebody else do something. As an entrepreneur, delegating was very difficult for me. This is my baby. This is my company. Nobody's going to do it like me. And so that was very hard for me to delegate. And yet, as a sibling, as a child, as an older child, I would delegate all the time. I'll do the dishes, you help Sarah find her shoes. Or I will help you with your homework, you go start dinner. And so it was just, delegating was never a difficult thing for me. So today is National Bosses Day, and I have had some fabulous bosses. I have had some horrible bosses. I think we can all say that. But as a boss, I like being my own boss, but as a boss, I try to be fair. I try to delegate. And I had to overcome that being a perfectionist person as well, because I learned in my leadership in my childhood all the way until I left home, that we're not perfect and we're going to make mistakes. And just because we are the leader doesn't mean that we have to be perfect, that we have to be flawless. And that was always really difficult for me because I set high standards for myself, and I still do in my business. And I have learned through my childhood and looking back and watching my mother, and my husband will say, gosh, now I know where she gets it from, because it does kind of trickle down. My daughter herself is an overachiever. She's doesn't like failure. She's very much a strive for the best kind of person. And my son is the kind of person that, he works a lot, and his employers want to clone him because he's, such an amazing employee. And he strives to go above and beyond his job description. And I think that's that we instill down from generation to generation is our leadership skills and our leadership potential. And so as National Bosses Day, as someone who is talking and telling my story about what I've learned from my childhood, I was born the oldest. So immediately with that title of being the oldest and being a girl, I immediately got given all this responsibility. I didn't ask for it. Sometimes I didn't want it, but it was my job description. And I can truly say that it has helped me in my business life, in my personal life, and in my personal growth. I have had to learn what being a leader and being that role really means. And like I said, being a leader doesn't always mean you have to be in charge. It's always good to delegate and to listen. And, a lot of times people on the outside know more than you do. I know even with major corporations, It's the little cashiers and the minimum wage people that are face to face with your customers every single day. So for us as CEOs of big corporations to sit in an office in a completely different city and dictate what is right for our company, it would behoove us to talk to some of these people that are face to face with our customers. And so that is something that I've learned in my childhood from being born into a leadership role. And so I just wanted to say Happy Bosses Day to all the bosses out there, to all the entrepreneurs out there who are being their own boss. And if you have a boss that you really just look up to, give them a shout out today. They work hard and they're not perfect. And I know one of my most favorite bosses is, actually it is my most favorite boss, and he's no longer with us. I was with his company for 10 years. It's still around. I'm still very good friends with his family. And I wish I had the opportunity to say how much I really admire him now that I am an entrepreneur and doing my thing. And I look back and I see how much he did. And it must have really been a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of worrying, a lot of people's livelihoods fell on him. And wow, that's overwhelming to me. And I get it now, and I didn't get it then. So I just encourage you today to step back, realize that bosses are people too. We are going to make mistakes. And if you are the boss, to realize that it's okay if you make a mistake. Being a leader doesn't mean you have to be perfect. I learned that in my childhood. Have a fabulous, fabulous Bosses Day.